Hi, I'm Cristina Victoria Villegas de Moreno, but my government name is Christine Villegas. I'm a Christian Latina who has worked in real estate development and commercial real estate for over 20 years, and in politics on both sides of the aisle before that for 15 years. I am super passionate about community, economic development, generational wealth, and I am so excited for this series.
And I'm Lesley Stevenson, a higher education professional in transition, searching for the next chapter in my life. As I navigate my own path, I felt called to take a deeper look at how faith and finances intersect, and that led us to create this podcast.
Welcome to our
21-day financial fast, where we embark on a journey to reset our relationship with money rooted in biblical principles.
In each episode, we'll explore how Scripture can guide us toward financial freedom, discipline, and trust in God's provision. Together, we'll reshape our relationship with money, growing as faithful stewards of what God has entrusted to us. Day 5, the stages of financial growth.
Yes. So the scripture for this is, suppose one of you wants to build a tower. Well, you first sit down and estimate the cost to see if you have enough money to complete it. And that's Luke 14:28. This is a scripture for those people who want to be project managers. Christine, you're a project
What's
manager.
up?
This is what you need, that budget piece of project management. You can't go in without a plan.
You know what's crazy is when I was younger, grew up in the 80s, 90s for school, there wasn't a lot of push for Latinos going to college, girls going to college. So for me, math was never really a priority, right? And it was like, oh, you're an extrovert. Like you're a great talker. You could be a teacher. You could be, probably work for somebody. And I was a great, my mindset was like, I'm going to do that. When I got into affordable housing development, real estate development, and I started learning, I was so nervous, right? Because I was working in politics before, and my biggest budget was $500,000. And that was a lot of money to me. Okay, but now my mindset has leveled up where my project's the smallest one I did was $7 million. The biggest was $165 million.
Wow.
So that's really opened my eyes to just how to get things done, how to take something from a concept into reality. So yes, that scripture was totally project manager scripture.
Yeah.
And I love it. But yeah, super empowering, but also just wow sometimes, right? Because you're I think people always, especially in real estate and in development, people okay, I'm going to spend, they think it's going to be a $3 million job. And I'm you probably forgot all the entitlement money, all the pre-development costs. It's just people want to see a reality show and just jump in. And I think it's easy to do that in your personal finances too, to watch a reality show and be oh, I want that car. Oh, I want those things. But again, going back to what do we really need and what does God want for us?
Right.
And how are we focusing on being in tension with Him? I think that's the cool part of this journey.
Yes.
So what are the 4 parts of the stages of financial growth? Tell us.
So here for day 5, it kind of goes over the 4 stages and helping us increase our chances of success and leveling up. So we want to move to the first part, spending control, which is controlling how you spend your money. And that is the most fundamental way or skill to build your wealth. So it says it is the first step in effectively managing the funds that you already have, right? You want to make sure that you have a positive cash flow. So if all of the money that you have coming in has already been earmarked and is going out, you're not building wealth. You're essentially just
surviving.
Yeah. So that is true. That's basically your foundation. You have to learn how to keep the money and make it grow. The second one, debt elimination, trying to build wealth while still in debt is a losing plan. It's essentially kind of building, how do they say, you're building a house on quicksand? Because again, the money that's coming in is going out to pay someone else.
So I struggle with this one a lot, especially as a real estate developer. because one of the primary like concepts they teach you is like leverage somebody else's money. So I struggle because I'm kind of like, well, if I only get 3% down, I'm willing to put that down. As long as the mortgage seems like it's realistic, or if I was buying multifamily, for example, then as long as the rents are covering that mortgage, I don't really consider it debt. So I'd be so curious what Pastor George says about that. Because
That is a really great question. And I think one of the takeaways from the Generational Wealth Summit, when they were talking about real estate, was just that, right? Like kind of leveraging your equity to purchase more property so that you can have more income, right? Um, that's a great question. I wonder.
So just want to say a couple of things on spending control and delineation. One of the things I think, I forget where it was mentioned, but like, who are the people who you admire in terms of like their finances? For me, I'm proud to say like my best friends are all like better, like doing better financially or whatever, I think, than me. For spending control, my bestie, Sonia, she has been an educational administrator for like 25 years. And she tends to live off of like a salary maybe that she was making several years ago. So if she's like, if I was already living off of that and fine, then whatever increase I get, she's just giving it to retirement or saving it for my godson's college. And her and her husband are really good and aligned in terms of their partnership, where she I think is head of household, but he is definitely like super engaged and supports her in that, like makes it so that he's taking care of the kids, and he's like an amazing chef, and like his salary's also been kind of steady, and he gets some whole summers off. They just like they have like a flow and they make it work, and it's so awesome. And I love that they are so conscious about, um, where their money is going and what they're buying. And she's taught me a lot about like, looking at my decisions and where I can, little things, but they really add up.
Yeah, likewise. I have a friend who's also a educational administrator. She got her bachelor's in, she's a sorority sister as well. So I've known her ever since we were like sophomores in college. And she got a degree in accounting, but now works as an admin. I think she works in a district office. Years ago, she had mentioned to me, because she's always been a person that has been a saver. And she had this saying where she was like, when I buy certain things, I always ask myself, how many hours do I need to work in order to pay for this? And is it worth it? And to this day, I ask myself that. Like, a purse, if that purse costs $600, you take your hourly salary or whatever you make, and is it worth it? So it's like, okay, if I'm making $600 an hour, is this worth 1 hour worth of my time? Yeah, right. So now, like everything that I get just from that point, like,
awesome. If you're making $600 an hour, you go.
I'm not, but when I do purchase things, ever since that point, I've really asked myself, and it's like, is it worth it?
So my next person is my ex-broker, still a business partner. Her name's Tina. On debt elimination, not that it was a debt elimination strategy, but I think to your point about one of her great sayings that I love, she's like, I quit spending money on purses and shoes, and I started putting my money into real estate. And I know, again, like I'm going to the leverage part, and I know it's contrary to debt elimination, but I love that she's taught me, because I feel like, to me, real estate, again, I just go back to, for me, real estate is my right hand. Like it's the one thing I know, it's my one trick pony. But she's taught me to have the confidence to go invest in out-of-state properties. Like I don't think I can afford that much. Like I'm struggling to pay for my own home here in California, but my commission can easily pay for other properties out of state. And just to let go and have that trust in God and other people, property, like find your property managers, and those out of state properties can help to pay down my debts here.
Right.
So she even had an example where our old assistant bought a duplex in Ohio for guess how much?
Man, I don't even want 100,000.
Not even $50,000. She put down 20% on that. So 10 grand, which is less than our average commission. And then Tina had the foresight to get Section 8 vouchers, tenants in there. So she's getting guaranteed full rents from the government. And, they're making like $900 a month off of those two properties.
Now, I know we are just talking in microphones, y'all, but if you can see my face right now, do you know people probably spend $10,000 on like
Trash.
right?
Yeah, junk. Yeah, a
My
bag.
fast food. That's my fast food budget.
Oh, stop it. Stop it. But it's creating that mindset, right? Like opening your mindset to like, okay, how am I going to get out of this quicksand? So I will say I'm open to other people, like leveraging other debts to pay down things, as long as you're keeping an eye on those things and not getting too far, like out of control, where you're like, because I've been through in real estate now, 2 downturns, and I've seen people like, lose friends, lose partnerships, lose property, lose all kinds of things because they got way too ahead of themselves.
Wow.
So I think you have to be mindful about how much you're getting into. But I think if you can, you're sure that someone's paying off those things for you, or those things are actually providing a return for you, I think it's still, cool.
Well, see, even in that, I think you kind of touched on your question, even with talking about Pastor George leveraging. As long as you're bringing in income that helps you eliminate that debt, is it really?
It's really debt.
Right, because you're eliminating what you have.
Right. I mean, yeah, because I feel like my personal debt is the debt I want to get rid of. So if I'm maybe I'm rational debt, if I'm taking on other debt for like a commodity that will then pay down my debt, then I'll rationalize that it's paying down my debt.
I feel like that's an investment.
Okay.
All right. I don't know if that's necessarily a debt.
Okay. I'll take it.
Okay.
All right. So talk about save vesting and building your wealth machine.
So the next stage, yes, save vesting, which is a blend. Yes, it is a blend of the two words, saving and investing. So it says you don't have to build up a vast savings fund before it is okay for you to invest, because doing so makes you miss out on one of the essential elements of investing, which is time, which is true. When you come to investments, they go up and they go down all the time. And I learn this on a daily basis. And then because I'm such I want to get the best deal, I have a tendency to hold on making certain decisions where it's like, you can't get that time back. So you kind of have to make the choice. And then if it's not it's the best one for at the moment that you made that choice. And then if in the future you're like, you know what, this just isn't for me, then you can change from there.
My mindset on save vesting, again, I'm just going to go back to, you're going to have to help me get out of my one trick pony mentality. But for me, I'm all real estate. I have so many trust issues around stocks, and I don't really understand it. I feel like it's when I go to Vegas, I go for the pool and a show. I'm not a gambler. And to me, stocks seems like a gamble, right? It's
it is.
The volatility of the market is scary. And I feel I only have 13 years and I have this great, I love to see math, and okay, once you figure out that math is money, and you can find those good financial calculators or whatever. So I was looking at okay, how do I get $1 million in the bank by the time I'm 65? But it's I had to do a lot to do that, right? So to think of if I were to put $10,000 into stock and hope it works out, it scares the crap out of me.
Right. But then also recognizing, it's going to be scary because you could put $10,000 in a home and it be, what was that?
What was that? Build equity.
But what was that movie where it was Tom Hanks.
The Money Pit?
Yes. right?
But that's
Some
when
people
you gotta buy and, like, know what you're getting into.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, I have people who have purchased homes and they were like, as soon as I got into that home, it cost me more than what it was really worth. Like
Oh,
the
well, I'm gonna
foundation was
knock on
just
wood and
and
say that I'm an expert
but most of
buyer.
it right. So that's what you know, and you are capitalizing on that strength and that skill set. Just the same as when you are investing, like at any given point in time, unless you pay that home off, you still are taking a risk,
Mhm.
right? Because
Mm.
if you can't make the payment. So for my friends who have property, they always tell me, I'm like, man, I wish I would have bought property so much sooner because now I'm trying and people like, you're going to get priced out. And I'm like, I believe in a God that believe that works in impossible, like he can do very impossible things. So I put it out there and what I want, if I don't get it, then that just means that that wasn't for me. Right. So I'm okay with that. But then I have friends who are just like, well, I mean, even in that, I own this home. It's great that you don't have um, debt because my first thing was I don't want to have any debt. So I became debt free. And one of the
That's
things that they
amazing.
talked
Congratulations.
about, thank you so much, is that they were just like, well, look at me. I have this house. We've been able to do like all these upgrades and stuff like that. But if I don't make my payment next month or the month after that, they're going to foreclose on my home. Right.
Mm.
So, really looking at that, like you don't truly
Yeah,
own that
don't get over
property.
your skis.
Right.
Sure.
So it's like you don't truly own that property until you own that property. So I still think that there's a risk in real estate that you are taking. It may not be as volatile as
For sure.
stocks,
Yes.
but if you can take that risk, you can still you can do so in the stock market. You don't have to, and I'm not an expert by far, right? And maybe we can bring some people to talk to us in yeah, in that round. But real estate and then the stocks are two of the quickest or that have the highest rate of return in like very short periods of time
Mhm.
than anything else. Like putting your money in a bank account or your savings. You're not
Slow
going to
as
be able to
boat.
do right. You're not going to be able to do that. So the three areas where you can probably make a bunch of money in a short period of time:
Mhm.
real estate, stocks, or if you win the lotto.
And I do play.
I need to start playing.
I don't know if Pastor George will agree with us on that, but I do feel like if I don't play, I don't win. So
And that's true.
it's
That is,
I'm not
that's some people.
and I'll rationalize it. It's like, okay, I just won't buy that coffee.
There you go. Because it only takes that, what, $1, $2? How much is a ticket now? $2?
$2.
And you are making millions. That's a pretty good, those are some pretty good odds.
Mhm.
Um, Somebody will probably end up listening to this and like, Lesley, your math is all wrong. I'm with you there. I'm with you. And then the fourth, building your wealth machine. Once you have the first three stages under control, this is the most fun part, putting your money to work in suitable vehicles. So it's really just kind of talking about um, what options or vehicles that you have that are going to continue to generate money. And yeah, I'm not there yet. I'm still at the first two.
Yeah, same. Same. I'm on steady trying to get to what's the third one?
Say vesting.
Oh, no, I'm on steady trying to get to solid.
Oh, solid. Yeah.
Mhm. And I would love to get to surplus. I'm always like I'm so impatient. That's definitely one of my problems. But
Yeah.
yeah, for me, spending control, I think is possible. I definitely could look at like things that I could cut out of my budget. Um, and debt elimination, like I don't have a lot of credit card debt. It's like just barely any. It's really for me, it's just that student
Yeah.
loan monkey on my back. That is the scariest, most painful.
And know that you are not alone with that. You are
I know.
definitely not alone. So one of the things that, just to kind of sum up this chapter and how it's talking about moving and leveling up, if you are struggling where I am, I'm really kind of working on the spending and debt elimination. But I know we've talked about my, like, just me kind of being on the fence on whether or not I'm struggling or steady. But I'm going to work from the struggling space, and we'll work on my spending control and any future debt, because I do want to own property. So
I would just
that.
encourage you to, I mean, obviously it's ideal for you to live in that property, right? But as they were saying at the summit, it's like you could also just have properties and assets that other people are living in and making that money work for you.
Yes.
And I feel like for so many of us in California, and I hate to give up on the California dream, if it weren't for my mother, I would be out of the state so quick.
Yeah.
But she won't move, so I'm not moving.
Man, California is, I do not want to move. And this weather is what keeps me. I've lived in other states.
Same.
I have the seasonal affect disorder is a thing. And
Well, I'm highly considering Nevada.
yeah,
Highly considering Nevada is my
they don't have state tax.
no personal tax. No, they got property taxes and federal taxes. So, but I also feel like, well, if you have property tax, but that's still fine because, I mean, I have property tax here too. So California's taking like 40% of my earnings, and it is painful.
Yeah.
So, and I feel like, okay, I could fly from Vegas to LAX like in an hour and
That's true.
do all my California work.
That's like like a regular commute in California.
Basically. So rationalizing for sure party of one. But yeah, that's kind of like I feel like I'm gonna level up business wise. I'd like to get my Nevada real estate license and my California broker's license. I've been putting that off too for a minute. So I feel like maybe within this fast, I gotta figure out how to like incorporate that study strategy for those two things for 2025, like to make it a real tangible, outcome.
Yeah, because you're talking about, you're wanting to move from steady to solid. So it just says aggressively focusing on your debt elimination and safe investing.
And
So
for
maybe like an investment that you could make within yourself, would that be investing time and finances or resources into your brokerage license?
oh, for sure. That's not even that much money. It doesn't cost a lot to get your licenses. It's more like, do you have the tenacity to take the test? But I laugh because I'm like, I have all these degrees for a job that doesn't require any of them, but they have definitely helped me level up within the business. Um, I feel like I would just like to, um, like the building on my wealth machine that obviously I need to get through 2 and 3, but I feel like in Las Vegas, there's so many more hotels, like, and I want to focus more on like selling hotels and converting hotels into housing. And they just have so much more inventory out there. And I feel like it's just cheaper to build out there and all that stuff. So it scares me. So I'm thinking about Sin City, but, I feel like financially it might make more sense for me.
It might, because that is, I mean, everything that you're saying, it's close to California. The weather is not bad, right? Very consistent
As
there.
long as they got a pool, I'm all right.
Right. And then when it comes down to the real estate and expanding with those new stadiums and stuff that are out there, there's nothing but space and opportunity. So yeah.
So we'll see what God has in store.
Yes. So we are wrapping up on day 5, and
So you're
what
going
is
to work on spending control. I'm going to work on debt elimination. Well, both. I think we're working on both.
Yes. So my task, because I am struggling, not really, spending control and debt elimination. Those are the two things that my takeaways, my action points from here. And then for you, it says to work on debt elimination and safe investing.
Yes. But I could still tighten up on spending control. Yeah. I think there's a couple subscriptions I could do without. There's a couple of monthly expenses like for working out that I could dial back and still stay healthy. So yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Day 5.
That
Next
is
level.
Look, we are about to level up.